Hi Shakti and
Hey, Natalia.
everyone. Today, that's gonna be a slightly unusual topic. We will discuss S&P 500, but not in terms of stocks performance, in terms of ESG performance. And this is only sort of educational material, so the data are not presented on our website. This is more that we want to explain why. All right. I'll share my screen. By the way, this is my bread and butter, exploring data. And what I'm finding that old Excel is great. So this data set has been taken from Kaggle, a community for data scientists, where you can organize competitions and do some learning. Well, this is S&P 500. But here, instead of stocks price or any other financial performance, we have ESG risk score, and we also have different components of the risk in terms of environment, governance, and social risk score. So the higher the score, the greater the risk. The lower the score, the less the risk. 500 companies, and here I want to demonstrate you performance by industry, performance in ESG. I will take this graph quite big right now. Oops. This is total score, average total, and for energy sector, that's going to be the highest. So for energy, we have the greatest risk, and then you can see all others like utility services, industrials, financial services, healthcare, etc. Okay, this is good. We all know that energy in terms of environment might be a bit risky. Then let's have a look at distribution. So what means distribution? It means like how many companies are actually in a certain risk range. If you look at this bar with distributions, you would see the higher the bar, the more companies we have in that risk rating score. So the mean would be about 20 to 25 or 15 to 20, like somewhere here in the middle. That's going to be all right ESG score. If we look at energy sector, for energy, that's going to be higher. If we look at something like, let's say, technology, so technology is safer. If we look at industrials, for example, for industrials, average score would be around 15 to 20, maybe 20 to 25. So most of the companies would be somewhere in this area. Okay, now that's something I found quite interesting and fascinating. I wanted to find out outliers. These are those companies which are unusually high or unusually low in terms of ESG risks. And now let's have a look at this table. So that Z score would indicate those unusual companies, unusually green or unusually red, risky. Well, we have two companies which are scoring really low on risk in consumer cyclical sector, Hasbro, and in technology sector, Keysight Technologies. They're scoring quite low on risk, so great companies in terms of ESG. And then we can look at energy sector. Not surprisingly, there are quite a few companies which are being quite high on risk scores. Well, let's close energy. Not that interested. There is no surprise. But what about financial services? Wells and Fargo, so they would be quite high. And we see also some industrial companies. If you remember, if I filter here industrials, right? Industrials, they're not that risky. They're mostly like in 15 to 25 area for scores. But look here. We have 3M company, we have Boeing. General Electric company, and they are all quite risky in terms of environment, social, and governance.
So what about the split between ESG, right? Can you show that and how that might be different for different companies? For example, let's look at Amazon. We all know that there is some issue on the social side. So how is the social score different from environment and governance?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is no graph prepared for this, but we can have a look at the company here. Amazon would be AMZ. And let's see, total ESG score. Well, it's quite high. These are the numbers basically. I'll just make it bigger. The environmental score is not that high, but the greatest risk for Amazon would be social risk. We can look at other companies, like let's say if we look, what was there? Well, Fargus company? No,
Yeah, Wells
Fargo.
Fargo had some issues recently. So I
Yeah,
think governance and social are pretty bad. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. It's really bad here, especially for governance. Next time, maybe we'll prepare another analysis which would look at like separate components of ESG.
Also, maybe we can include the size of the company. The bigger the company, the bigger the impact. So maybe we can discuss that too.
Yeah, and adding their financial data. Financial data would be interesting.
Yeah. Thanks, Natalia. This was very good. Yeah.
Thank you, Shakti.